Paradox Entertainment gave us Dev Diary 14, what they've been up to. I think we'd all appreciate some gameplay, some mechanics, some more RPG info, but this is what we have. Starting this info roundup off, we have sound designer Corey Young getting all excited about weaving past events into the world around your character as you move through it. In their extended gameplay, they gave us a little bit of this where past events could be seen, whether these past events are something that can happen anytime or very situational and story driven. We weren't informed, but he was all stoked about being able to add to the world around you as an elder vampire. How would you perceive the world differently than a human? Depending on how they implement this could be good or it could be jarring. Making things a little too weird and unfamiliar could pull the player out of the moment. Next, we have more concept art, specifically a character named Nyx that we're going to meet in the Underground. Doesn't look terribly gangrel to me, but then again, I've never met a gangrel. Honestly, I have no idea what they're going for in this look. The post mentions trying to maintain that animalistic, feral nature of the gangrel. To me, it looks like someone trying different hairstyles from different decades. Moving on from Nyx, we have Pioneer Square. Now this one is a little more important. Pioneer Square is a real place, someplace you can visit. Heck, you can watch all kinds of YouTube videos on what Pioneer Square looks like during the day, during the evening, in the rain, in the snow. So it is a bit of a shock when what they show us doesn't look much like Pioneer Square at all. And why doesn't it look like Pioneer Square? Neo-noir. The real Pioneer Square is well lit at night. There are dozens of strings of white lights across the trees, numerous lamp posts, and very little neon. The streets surrounding Pioneer Square are very well lit. Like most modern cities, walking around downtown is not walking in darkness. And all that bright light certainly doesn't diminish the number of homeless, drug users, etc. going on. It's all done under glaring streetlights. But not for the Chinese room. The art team's directive was to make it cold and dark and foreboding, and to go insane with neon lights. It just doesn't work for me, because I know what it looks like. And it's a shame because the original team, Hardsuit Labs, they did a pretty good job of recreating it, and it looked a lot like the real thing, because the folks designing it lived in Seattle. This doesn't even seem like a close approximation to me. If you're going for alternate universe, I suppose it works. The other thing they show are concept art for storefronts, both in Pioneer Square and the financial district. Again, these don't look like what's in Pioneer Square. The main Pioneer Square proper has a particular architecture. What they show us here in concept art just looks like small town run-down dirt hole. And when this article transitions us to the financial district, we learn that they decided to make it distinctive with lots of cyan, because one of their directives was to make each area distinctive, recognizable. I'm sorry, I'm not a 5-year-old. I can tell the difference between one side of town and another without going from grungy red neon to bright, mind-altering cyan. This seems like a case where the artists have fallen so in love with their idea, especially of neo-noir, that they let that override absolutely everything else. Somehow, neo-noir has become the central storytelling device. Moving on to coding, this part is pretty cool. We all know Unreal 5 is a pretty powerful engine, and it sounds like the Chinese room is trying to take advantage of that, not only in crowd flow dynamics, but adding sound and conversations within those crowds. So they're not just a bunch of randos milling about, they're actually having conversations, and apparently will even get into fights. In the section labeled Design, Jack Goddard tells us he likes to design his quests with that push-pull dynamic of fire, barf, to navigate not only an unfamiliar landscape and technology, but the politics of Seattle. Which faction do you torque off, and which faction do you cozy up with? This suggests, as they have previously, that there will be consequences to the people you choose to befriend or to behead. Unfortunately, he didn't give us any examples, not only of which factions are you dealing with, though we can kind of guess those, but how these things could go wrong or right for you. Is it just, oh, thanks, you did my quest, or are there more things to it? They also have a few more images here, and yuck. This feels more like Cyberpunk 2077. Next, they tell us how they utilize areas for specific purposes. And I must say, this is disappointing. Maybe it's the right way to do it, and maybe they implement it in a super cool way, but I'm a skeptic. Amy Lee tells us that certain areas are designed around combat. Traversal, lots of different ways to approach, to hide, to move, but not particularly designed for exploration. And other areas are. Those areas you're encouraged to take your time, check out everything, get all the lore and the info you can. It sounds like, maybe it isn't, but it sounds like you enter this area and, oh, I'm in a combat zone, so I know what I'm doing here. Versus a telegraphed, this is a safe area. If you do something stupid, fine. Otherwise, it's not a combat zone. I don't like this idea. Sure, there's always areas that we know, well, we're going into combat here, but I want every area to be rich and explorable. After I've been a lawnmower in an area and there's nobody left to take down, I want to find cool stuff there. It doesn't appear that's how they've designed the level. Finally, they talk about production and that they are recording. Lee Clark tells us that he's having just a blast, but he doesn't call anything out specifically. Details, folks. We want details, not generalities. Still, I guess it's better to know they're actually doing something than radio silence and no clue what's going on at all. What do you folks think? Leave us a comment below, and remember, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.